Okay, so we just watched the fluency video for the associative property. That was kind of an intro to today's lesson, which is Module 3, Lesson 9. This is our last lesson before the test, so the test will be tomorrow. Our objective is to model the associative property as a strategy to multiply. The materials needed for today are your online whiteboard or your whiteboard dry erase marker and dry eraser. And we're going to follow the teaching style where I do it, we do it together, and you do it on your own. First, we're going to start off with an example that's going to look a lot like your CAMI homework later. Okay, so here I have this big array. You can see that there's 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and there's 12 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that models the problem 3 times 12, or 3 rows of 12. Now down here, what we've done is we've kind of grouped the array into smaller arrays to make it easier to solve. So we're using the associative property. Over here you see they have 3 times 3 times 4. So 3 times 3 is what you see inside the parentheses, these giant parentheses, which is 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, with 3 in each row. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so inside parentheses, we have 3 rows of 3, and we had to do that 4 times. So you'll see there's 1 3 by 3, 2 3 by 3s, 3 3 by 3s, and 4 3 by 3s. Okay, so there's 4 arrays that are 3 rows of 3. So how they got that is we kept this 3, and then 12 became 3 times 4, okay? Because 3 times 4 equals 12, okay? So they just took that 12 and they broke it down into 3 times 4. Now what we have is 3 times 3 times 4. You can see they kept the times 4, and now we have to figure out what goes in the blank. Well, how many triangles are in each parentheses? There's 3 rows of 3, so we can skip count by 3s. 3, 6, 9. So each one of those smaller arrays has 9. So what we did is we changed 3 times 12 into 9 times 4. We do know how to multiply by 9s. We do know how to multiply by 4s. Okay? We do know how to multiply by 3s up here, but we haven't multiplied by or skip counted by 12. So what we did is we really just used the associative property to change it into an easier problem. And now we can skip count, okay? We can count by 9s 4 times. Okay, so 9 is for this array. 18, 27, 36. So 9 times 4 equals 36. Okay, now what I can do is I can go back to A and I can say, well, if it's the same thing, we just use the associative property to tell us that 9 times 4 equals 36, which means 3 times 12 also equals 36. Because it's the same picture, we just broke it into smaller arrays to help us solve. Okay, let's go ahead now and let's do one together. So up here we have 3 rows of 14. Okay, 3 times 14. Now, I'm not going to solve that one yet because I know I'm going to use the associative property to help me solve it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you about a minute to draw this array down here, okay? I want you to draw this array on your whiteboard. Make sure that you leave enough room to work on our problem off to the side. So draw this array as you see it, and then we're going to work it out. Going to give you about 30 more seconds to finish on your array. Okay, so now on our whiteboards, we're going to be doing this equation that's over here. Okay. Now, we know that we are keeping this 3 because there's still 3 rows. So we're going to write 3 times, well, if you look at your arrays, there's 1, 2, 3 rows, right? 1, 2, 3 rows going side to side. And there's 1, 2 in each row now. So really, we have all these smaller groups of arrays that are 3 times 2. So on your whiteboard, you should have written 3 times 2 times 7. Okay. Now just thinking, where did we get that 7? Well, 14 used to be 2 times 7. Okay. But the associative property says we can move those parentheses. So we are moving the parentheses off of 2 times 7, and now they're around 3 times 2. Okay, so that's where the associative property is letting us change the parentheses to make an easier problem. So on your board right now, you have 3 times 2 times 7. That's because your small array is 3 rows of 2, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those arrays. Okay. So now we have to figure out how many are in just one array. Let's skip count. 2, 4, 6. So each array has 6. So over here, we're going to write 6 times, well, there's still 7 groups, so we have 6 times 7. We have not learned to skip count by 14s, but we do know how to skip count by both 6s and 7s. So we've made this into a problem that's more manageable for us. And now all we have to do is solve. So on your whiteboard, you need to skip count by 6s 7 times. And then write your answer on your whiteboard while you have it, when you have it. So you're solving 6 times 7. Okay, so you should have been skip counting by sixes. 6, 12, 18, 24. Now remember, if you're still struggling with counting, you could always be doing 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Or you could even be counting by twos. 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42. Okay, a lot of different strategies when we have it broken down into smaller groups that make it easier for us to count. Okay, so 6 times 7 equals 42, which means that 3 times 14 also equals 42. So now I can go back and fill that answer in. Okay, so your homework is going to look just like this. It's Cami. You're going to be doing number 1, which is the whole page. Okay, it gives you the big array. You don't have to answer this yet, because what you're going to want to do is look at the smaller picture and fill in the blanks. And then once you get your answer, you'll be able to put that answer up for part A as well. Okay, so we're taking the big array and we're using the associative property to break it down into smaller arrays that are easier for us to skip count. Go ahead and begin.